Hey everyone, hi. I am here today to give you lesson number 1 on how to set up your online class. Our first lesson is drawing a single round object, and I'm excited to bring this to you today. So you should be already signed up and well on your way. And let's see if we can't make this an ongoing thing where we regularly meet together, and hopefully I'll have worked out all the glitches. So if this video isn't coming to you very professionally, I'm going to do my best to keep trying to do the best that I can. We have a nice cloudy day here in Arizona, so I'm not blocking out the windows. If there's a glare that's bothering you, I will try to work on how best I could rearrange my camera for next time. So first thing we want, let's just get started. You should have a supply list by now that explained all the pencils and types of paper that you might need, but let's go over that real quick. So first of all, you just want to have some type of paper that will allow you to smudge and draw smoothly, preferably not a piece of copy paper that would wrinkle up if you're trying to erase. So if you have a piece of copy paper and it sounds like this, that's probably not good enough paper. But if that's all you have laying around, then that's okay. I'm going to use today what's called Bristol paper, smooth. And you can see when you're buying your papers that you'll want to find something that has a heavy pound on it. So this one says that it is 100-pound paper. Here's some mixed media paper. It doesn't matter what brand you buy. It's really about what is the poundage. This one's got 60 pounds, so that will work just fine. It's a little bit more rough, has a little tooth to it. But if it sounds kind of beautiful like this when you wave it, that's better sounding than this screechy thing. So that's kind of how you know that your paper is pretty good. Next thing we want to do is look at pencils to draw with, because this is a drawing class. So what I like to do is use my regular old school pencil. And while this doesn't look like your regular school pencil, you might have one that looks like the classic yellow. On it, it will say HB, right? It says HB. H means hard. B stands for soft. You're thinking, why B for soft? Well, B happens to be black, because the softer you get with the pencil, the more black it will be. And of course, it has a number 2. So they label them from 2 all the way up to 9. So the higher the number, the softer or harder the pencil will be. So this is right in the middle with the 2. I have an HB, which is really right in the middle, half hard, half soft. And that's just my drawing pencil, but you could use this one. Do you notice how I took the eraser off of this one? Because I want to be able to control the ability to not feel like I'm going to erase or spend time erasing. I always tell my students, time to erase is not while you're in your creative mode. You can make a happy accident later. If you start out drawing lightly with this pencil, gently, not as much pressure, right? You'll be able to erase things that you really don't want. So what I'm using today is this HB, and the other pencils that I have in my arsenal are a 4B, a 6B, and an 8B. Okay, you can use any brand. This one happens to be, let's see, what do I have in my hand? I have a Faber-Castell and a Kimberly. So it doesn't matter what brand pencil that you have, a Staedtler. You can get these at the art supply store. They sometimes come in a set. You don't need the whole set. I don't even like all those H pencils. They drive me crazy. So you don't need to do the set, the little tin can with all the graphite in them. You could just buy these 3 plus your school pencil that you've got laying around, and you're good to go. Now you got to keep sharp. The idea of drawing is always keep it sharp. I also have a white eraser, a Staedtler white eraser. I love these things. They're They don't make a mess when I do erase, and it has a nice rubbery feel to it. This is all you need. If you have pink, gray, blue, green laying around the house, throw them out. Those are they're not your friend. I also have a kneadable eraser because I can knead it. I love this. This is like my go-to. I always tell my students if I'm stuck on a deserted island, I want my kneadable eraser. 1, to pass time. 2, maybe to clog a hole in a vessel that I'm stranded on the island with. Or 3, maybe, just maybe, I could draw with it. And that's what we're gonna do with it today. I love it. So it's gonna be really nice on your paper without scarring your paper and leaving all that pink filament from a regular pencil eraser. You can also draw with it, and I'll show you how to do that later. This is called a vermilion, that's a tortillion. Some of my students call it a tortilla because they don't like pronouncing the word. They come in different sizes, but it's just rolled paper, and it's great for blending. Pretty inexpensive. You don't have to have one of these, but if you choose to invest in one of these, they're great. They last forever. And sandpaper. You can go in the garage, get a piece of fine sandpaper, and we're going to use that to sharpen our pencils, sharpen our paper stick. So we always have a nice little fine point. Sometimes the sandpaper comes on a block like this. You don't need to spend the money on that unless you just want it for convenience. Okay, so we talked about paper, talked about pencils. Now let's just talk about our still life and setting that up. I have over here, I'm gonna pick up because I'm taping this on my phone camera too. You can see over here I have a apple set up on a piece of wood, and I like that I could pick a piece of wood right out of my garage that I could use as my table surface to get all that nice graining, because I'm going to practice my wood graining techniques. So I'm just going to pull this closer to me so that the other camera can pick up on it. Right? Okay. So hopefully you can see that you can use what you have laying around the house. This happens to be my fake apple. I do have a real apple. This fake one I've had for quite some time. I can remember in Grandma's cupboard having tons of fruit, and I'd always wonder, what, are those real? And sure enough, they aren't. So like you could have chosen one of my fake lemons or a fake peach, or I've got a pear. Just choose something that's round. If you go for a real apple, there's a real apple. I love all the veining in that, so that would be a good one to study. If you choose to use something else laying around the house, it might be something like a ball, a baseball. A tennis ball will work okay. You're going to have a lot more texture that you'd have to work with. So this may not be the best one for a beginner. But a baseball would work just fine, or a grapefruit, anything you have laying around the house. Okay, and then you see my wood grain, right? So I picked up a piece of wood out of the garage. I like it because it's got interesting pattern on it. This will be my wall surface. Pretend like that's shiplap or plank on the back wall. I love the variation between light and dark. You could use a sheet. You could use anything that you could place a towel, or towel's too nubby, too fuzzy like the tennis ball. So maybe just go with a smooth piece of fabric and sheet. Preferably use something that is neutral, meaning not a lot of pattern. So it's just white cloth or gray cloth. You'll also need a light source. So over here, I have a light. Came right off my daughter's desk. You could use Mr. Sunshine as well, but do you see how this is going to be important? So when I turn this on, I'm going to see where the light is on the actual apple, and it was going to cast a shadow very distinctly onto the wood surface or your table or your cloth, whatever you have on the horizontal plane, this light is going to cast onto your object a shadow onto the horizontal plane. Let's see, I think that's everything you need. Oh, you see that I have two right in front of me, a piece of cardboard. That's only because when I lay my piece of paper down on top, that will avoid any imperfections that might be in my table surface from getting onto my drawing. And you might want to have a tissue readily available. Sometimes I like to blend with my tissue. And what else can I tell you? Go get your things. I'll see you.